If you want to start traveling solo, but you're unsure about where to start, you came exactly to the right place today. Before I jump in, listen carefully. Tip number 5 might change the entire way you think about solo travel. If you're being scared to take the first leap, this episode is for you, and the 5th tip might be just the one that shifts everything about the way you think about this. Stay with me until the end because we're going to step by step from the easiest baby steps all the way to the boldest and most empowering ways of solo female travel. My name is Selena and welcome back to our Fearless Fridays, where we talk about courage, confidence, and taking that leap as a solo female traveler. Today I'm giving you 5 ways to ease into the solo traveling without feeling overwhelmed, unsafe, or alone. And this is what we do here on Fridays. We take a walk around the park and we talk about all these tips to empower you to take your leap and travel solo, have fun like you see in all my travels here in the vlogs on Sundays. We're gonna jump right in. So tip number 1 is to start with a unique local stay. It can be like a tiny home, a cabin, a tree house. I love doing these different stays. It's one of the most powerful things you can do to start close to home. So you don't need to fly across the country or around the world. You just need a change of environment and the courage to spend intentional time with yourself. My very first intentional, completely solo getaway, I planned to go on this tiny house close here to Orlando, Florida, where I'm located. And it was one of the most incredible experiences. I did right around the corner for New Year's, so this is a great timing for you as well. I am always very intentional on New Year's of thinking about, the goals I want for the next year, reflect on the things that happened in my life for the previous year. And I always like to take that quiet moment to do that. So I figured it was the perfect time to find a unique stay somewhere else and take that leap traveling solo. Solo, literally by myself, because I'm gonna talk about other ways you can do it here, and I have done those plenty of times before that. I went to this tiny home, I think it was in Sarasota, Florida, and it was so cute, and it was the perfect way to dive inside my thoughts and my feelings and just reflect about the year, create my goals for the next year. I always like visiting the beach. In Brazil, where I'm from, New Year's in the beach is one of the most common ways to spend New Year's, especially because it's summertime over there. Anyways, I cannot recommend enough that you find one of these unique places close to home and take a weekend, one night if you want to start really slow. And this is the perfect way for you to feel comfortable with yourself, comfortable of traveling alone, sleeping alone in a new place. I use heavily Airbnb when I travel, and I cannot recommend enough that you read all the reviews. And for me, when traveling solo, I have this thing that I only stay with super hosts. There's a bar the host needs to hit and hold to be able to have that badge. And after some crazy experiences I had in London traveling by myself, I only pick super hosts when I travel solo, so that's an extra tip for you. One thing I always preach in this channel is that to have the courage to do this thing solo, it's like a muscle. You need to be exercising it. So let me give you some other simple ways to keep this muscle active. So number 2 is take yourself on a solo activity in your own town, especially at dinner. Before you travel alone, you need to get comfortable doing one thing, enjoying your own company. And the best solo practice, I always say, is take yourself to a dinner alone. Now there's a trick to it. I like, instead of going to the restaurant and getting my own table, I sit at the bar. Why? Because the bar top gives you instant social flow with the bartender that is right there in front of you. You're surrounded by people, but still grounded in your own space, your own activity. So there's that opportunity of end up meeting the person that sits right next to you, having some interesting conversations, or just enjoy the time and the dinner by yourself. But the option is there. And since many other solo people sit in a bar, you won't feel that awkwardness about going to a restaurant on your own, sitting on a table by yourself. It removes that pressure and you feel normal. I guess one of the barriers for solo travelers is to feel awkward, to feel lonely. I guess the first times when you focus on that, it can feel like that. But again, it's that muscle, right? The more you're practicing this activity solo, the more you feel comfortable and the more you enjoy doing that, and you might get completely hooked in it, like I have been. So places that you can also do that will be going to a movie by yourself, a museum, a coffee shop around the corner if you haven't yet, a local trip to like a garden or a day park, doing a sunset or a sunrise walk, just getting used to being with yourself and your thoughts. Now here's a bonus tip that lies in between these two tips of traveling to a unique place and doing these activities by yourself is go visit a friend that you have in a different state or city. I hope you have one of those, because this is one of the most incredible, easy ways to expand that traveling solo. You're going by yourself, you're taking yourself to the airport, you're doing all those things alone. But when you get to the city, you have a friend there, you're staying in their house, and again, you're taking yourself in those activities by yourself. You're going sightseeing, maybe at the end of the day, you both join a restaurant together to catch up, but during the day, you're gonna be doing those things solo and by yourself. So it's a nice hybrid way to go experience on your own, having that safety stone in the location that you are going to visit. And come on, solo travelers, one barrier is how expensive these trips can be when you're paying everything by yourself. So going to visit a friend somewhere out of town saves you money, because hopefully that friend won't charge you anything for you to stay with them. Treat them to dinner or something. I have done this so many times. This is actually the way I started traveling solo. My cousins at some point were both living in Europe. One of them was in Spain and one of them was in Portugal. That was the first time of me like going from the US to another continent, to another country, to other countries. I started visiting my cousin in her town in Spain, and then I continue on my own. Then I went to Madrid, Barcelona on my own. Then the next step, I visit a cousin that was living in Portugal, and then I went to Lisbon by myself. I flew to Paris by myself. I flew to London by myself. So you start getting more comfortable starting the trip that way, and then continue hopping on your own. Like you broke out of the shell, you know, like you got out, you made it there, and then you're like, okay, I'm ready, let me hop to the next places. So this is a way to break that barrier. And then, as I say, the courage is not before you start doing something. You will find the courage in the middle of the leap. You just gotta leap first. You gotta trust, jump in, and then you find courage, and then you keep that momentum going. If you're enjoying these tips and it's making sense to you, make sure you join our community by subscribing. Let me know in the comments what are things you want to hear and answer your questions. But let's continue. Tip number 3, which is joining a guided activity, but going solo. So this is one of my favorite stepping stone strategies. You join alone, but within a safe, structured group. One of the very recent examples was my ranger guided hike I did in Arches National Park in the fiery furnace. So if you watched that episode, if you haven't, watch it, because what an experience. I met amazing people. I did this hike I really wanted to do, but it was very dangerous to do by yourself because it's very easy to get lost inside that hike. Didn't want to do that, so I found a ranger-led tour. If you're going to the national parks, this is a great thing for you to look, ranger-led tours. And if you're not going to the national parks, there are many other places. That was not the only one I've done. You can look in towns where you go visit for other hiking tours, walking city tours, food and drinking, ghost tours, kayaking excursions, snorkeling groups. There are many things. And one of the places I look for those activities is TripAdvisor, or I ask the locals when I'm in those dinners and coffee shops, or those notes I have on my phone. This is such a great way because you're still solo, showing up to that activity on your own, traveling solo, right? But because you signed up, you show up, you are supported by the group of people that you're doing the activity together. That guide, so you know you're safe, where you're going most of the time, so please read the reviews. I did many other activities like this, like when I was in San Francisco, I did a tour to go visit the wineries in Redwoods. Another one in Hawaii, I did many of those. Napali Coast, A boat tour was one of them. Another one was tubing that we went down in Kauai. Man, go back to that season 1. There's so many gems in there and tips if you're traveling to Hawaii. Look for those tours and activities that you can do in a group. And man, I made so many friendships in these group tours that I talked to people that I met in my travels from the tours up to today. One funny one is a couple I met in Moulin Rouge, because they do the dining table is shared, and it was me and a couple talk about awkwardness, right? But it was not. The couple was super interested on learning about solo traveling, and we talked a lot, and we became such good friends that we talk up to this day. No kidding. Now, if you want to step up a notch, I tried this for the first time this year and I had a blast. Try a solo cruise. There's a company that is very well known for doing these activities, Virgin Voyages. I have no sponsorship through them, but I had such an amazing experience doing a solo cruise. They have differential prices for solo travelers. They also have a cabin just for one person. The affordability, you can find it there because they offer this specific prices for solo travelers. They also have a specific group for solo travels. You can enjoy doing the cruise alone and your activities alone. Again, you can join for excursions, as I was mentioning just now. But they also have solo meetups. So they'll do activities in the ship, they'll do classes together, they'll just have like drink and talk together. If you're feeling like not doing dinner alone, you can join the group every night they meet for dinner. I end up not joining any of them because I had dinner plans every night. But Virgin Voyages cater for the solo travelers so well. I'm gonna leave a QR code here because I do have a discount for a drinking package. It will give you money on your bar tab and it will help me on my next trip. So that's a way for you to support the channel. So if you're interested about doing that, scan the QR code I'm gonna leave here on the screen for you so you can get drinks on me on your solo cruise. Sounds good? Also, the great thing about traveling in a cruise alone is that you can do your exploring alone, eating alone, have your quiet time in the ship. But again, meet the group and do the meetups if you want to do things together. If you're curious to see how that cruising solo experience went, I did an entire mini season here in this channel. So after this video, I'm gonna leave it on the screen for you to check some of those episodes so you can see how fun it really is to do a cruise by yourself. And now we're getting to what I promised, tip number 5, which is one of the most important of this episode. Take that leap of solo traveling, can change everything. And I know some of you are still feeling weird about doing that. So this is why next year, I'm creating something called Solo Together. It's gonna be a curated group of incredible women that we're gonna put together, a very small group where you can come solo and we will travel together with my guidance. I'm gonna plan this whole trip. On top of that, I'm gonna teach you these tools on how I plan my trips. We're gonna go through some exercises together. But not only that, we're also gonna do some life reflection, fun activities. I'm gonna push some of you out of your limits because we're gonna do some high adrenaline activities too if you wanna join us. So this will be something unique, transformational for your life, and what a great opportunity for us to do that together. I like to say that this is not a tour or a touring group. This is an empowering experience for women, especially to help you break that bubble to start traveling solo yourself. So if you want to ease into the solo travel but with guidance and sisterhood, this is our moment. So scan the QR code that is here on the screen to join the interest list, answer those questions, and only people who fill this application are gonna be able to go through the selection process next year, where I'm gonna review what we're gonna be doing. I'm catering to your answers in this questionnaire. So if you know you're meant to be part of something bigger, don't ignore that feeling. Take that leap, but you don't have to do that alone. We'll do it together. I hope you enjoyed this episode talking about some ways to ease into solo traveling. Let me know in the comments below what are some of the things you have already done and what are some of the things you're gonna try doing. Thank you all for joining again for another episode of Fearless Fridays. This Sunday, I'm bringing an incredible experience I had in the Capitol Reef National Park. We finally made to park number 4 of the national parks in Utah, and I'm gonna show you a mind-blowing location called the Bentonite Hills. But the question is, was I able to make it there? Come this Sunday to see, and I'll see you next week. Bye, adventures.